Things are heating up even more this week, guys, so let's just get into it. With auto writing and angel oracle cards for the week beginning January 22nd, 2018. So I'm just going to get into interpreting the auto write. It's been interesting. Okay. As I was writing this out and as I got kind of completed with the message, it really hit home. It really hit this sort of true essence, if I could put it that way, within me. So I guess what I could say is I just really felt it just clicked. That's what it is. That's what I want to say. It just clicked, and I hope it does for you as well. All right, so let's get into it here. They start out saying, it is contemplation time. Where will you remain? In the dark, where it is seemingly easier? It only feels this way because it is familiar. Okay, so I think what they're talking about there is like a lot of people just not wanting to grow and learn. I think this talks a lot about programming and how we have these auto responses. You know, one of the things I've noticed, I've seen people on like Facebook, for example, and they're, saying these things that are actually not very nice, and they're posting things that have this connotation that might hurt other people's feelings, and yet they do it anyway because they're like, well, I can't tiptoe around everybody else's feelings. This is how I feel. But as an empath, when I see that stuff, I know that that's not true. I know that they're not really out trying to hurt people. They just want to be a part of something. They want to have an identity. They want to be associated with something, perhaps out of fear, because there's strength in numbers, okay? Also, I think a lot of people are still working towards validation. It's just a normal human thing. It's what we do, right? But this is saying, is that why you're staying, like not wanting to know about things, not wanting to learn about things, okay? Not wanting to acknowledge that life is changing, things are changing. And we need to make some very hard decisions now. What direction are you going to go in? Now, we have to speak then too to people who fancy themselves as super educated. I know everything. I'm here to educate everybody else. That's one of those things that is so cringy to me. When somebody says, I'm here to educate others. Are you? Like, that's a pretty big statement to make, because we're all really students in this earth school, if you want to see it that way. So this is asking you to come on out of the darkness. It doesn't mean that you have to seek answers that click in your brain, but seek a solution or a feeling that clicks in your heart. To really come into that heart space this week. Okay, so let's continue on. It only feels this way because it is familiar. There has been much darkness for much time. So we're staying in this programming just because we're used to it, right? We've forgotten ourselves. We've talked about that before. Then we get into this like weird, I actually started to see this image. I'm not the best at drawing, but it doesn't really matter. So it almost, I had this picture of like, you know, the oil drills that kind of poke in and out of the earth. And they actually said oil drills escaping cracking. So what I actually saw was almost something that might have to do with fracking. Like, I don't want to put that word on it because, again, I don't know. Let me just check my mic. Okay. Sorry. It reminded me of fracking, but the image I was getting was of like a drill going down, and then I don't know if it hit something, but something under the surface of the earth breaks. We also have mention of flooding and fires. So it feels like that's related to the oil spill or something, but it's underneath. It's almost like, think of the earth as having like internal bleeding. Okay. So this might be happening somewhere, or it might be heating up. Or remember too, the messages that we're getting go beyond the time construct that we're used to. So if it doesn't, you know, happen this week, okay, like if we don't see something, I hope we don't. Again, you know me, anything that's kind of like, that comes up, I hope I'm wrong. I hope, let's pop open the champagne when I'm wrong, okay? No problem with that. I am happy to be wrong. So in this case, though, it could just be something that we start to get some awareness around, and then maybe it happens at a different time. Or it could have been something that's already happened and we just weren't aware of it, and now we're becoming aware of it. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, there will be much about resources fighting the evils. So I'm not really sure what that meant. Let me keep reading. Fighting the oppression. Let me read that again. There will be much about resources fighting the evils, fighting the oppression. So here's this feeling of people wanting to stand up and fight against this, but it's like the weary just swinging their fists, you know, like it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of staying power behind the people who are trying to speak up. They're not being heard. They're not being taken seriously. They might even be getting abused. Okay, this almost makes me think of like the protests with the pipeline. It's that kind of feel. So I'm getting chills as I say that. So if you were somebody, if something like this does come up and you want to get out there and you want to be a protester, please make sure you are fortifying yourself. Ground yourself. Okay, there's no honor in putting yourself in a dangerous situation. They're saying that some will choose to do that, but you don't have to. Okay, you will be heard by others. So the people that you might be speaking to might not listen to you. They may not be taking you seriously, but other people who actually, when they gather together, they actually do have power and love going behind what they're trying to do. They hear you, okay? So please just be careful. All right, so there will be spills and contamination you will need to be made aware of. Open your senses to this. It does not need to be this way. All right, again, going back to that, the things that are happening, there is a better way to get energy. There's a better way to do things. There are people out there who are working on those new ways. But also this is talking about what we were just saying about, just as an example, if you want to protest, you don't have to put yourself in harm's way in order to be heard. All right, so just be careful. Please be careful. I can't stress that enough. All right, open your senses to this. It does not need to be this way. Be in your peace. Being on the edge does not make one right. Fine-tune your opinions. Be sure to gather all the facts. So part of the problem is that people want to protest because they like, some people do this. They will protest because it's like fashionable to do so. They think if they're on the edge of something that they're affecting change. But sometimes the energy behind their intentions negates what they're trying to do. It negates any kind of positive thing that they're trying to cause in the world. So we can't be sophomoric in how we try to make social change. We have to be open to listening to the other side. We have to be open to, even if somebody has like what we deem a crazy opinion about something, okay? And they're expressing it, and everybody can pretty much agree that that person is just, you know, way off the rails, we still have to stop, and I think we're being asked to do so, to stop and kind of go, okay, what makes a person do that? What makes a person come from that perspective? We are still talking about programming. We are still talking about brainwashing. This might be understanding the pains that our fellow humans go through as well, okay? So not that you have to agree with the person who's out there screaming horrible things, but try to understand what causes a person to do that, okay? We're working that empathy muscle here. We're working that compassion muscle, okay? The sympathy. Again, you don't have to feel bad for somebody who's doing bad things. It's just get your own understanding, because when you're in your own understanding, I think you'll find that it's easier to forgive. It's easier to deal with it. It's easier to know what to say back to that person, okay? A quick example that I'm thinking of, I was watching a YouTube video one time, and this guy got on there and he was just leaving these horrible comments. I mean, just really angry. And everybody else was attacking him and coming back at him and saying, oh my gosh, how could you be so stupid? How do you not know about X, Y, and Z? And they're citing all these events, these resources, these, journalistic resources and things like that for him to educate himself. You need to get educated. And you know what? A couple of people, I've used this example before, but it's such a good one, and it actually happened. The ones that actually happen in life are the best, right? So a couple of people reached out and they're like, hey man, what's going on? Have you ever served in the military? And the guy started to open up, after some conversing back and forth. And he kind of attacked those people at first too, but they didn't allow that to tear them down. They didn't allow that to make them want to fight this person. They wanted to understand where he was coming from. And somebody called it and said, you're a veteran, aren't you? Yeah, I am. And how's that working for you? And they start talking about it. It turns out one of those people, I think, was actually in the military, knew somebody in the military. And they start talking to him. By the end of the comments, this long string of comments, the guy who had originally gone on the attack on everybody was apologizing and saying, I'm so sorry. It's just, I don't know what to do. I feel so much anger. I don't know how to get it out. I don't even know why I came here and did this. Then we start seeing the true essence of this person. Okay, and it was actually somebody who needed help. All right, so that's just an example, I think, of what we're trying to get out here. It's not about going and fighting one another. It's not about I'm right. Remember, politics is a division tactic. Okay, it is meant to separate people. Sporting events are meant to turn you against one another. Now, if you can do it in a fun, playful way, like maybe you and your friends, you're from like opposing teams. Like there are all these, even that, like there are these rivalries that are completely made up just to make people get all heated. Have you ever seen two sports teams or fans from two different sports teams like really get violent with one another? Over what? Like over something as silly as a game, okay? And I'm sorry if you're a sports fan and you're like, hey, I like my, it's not silly, but I think you can agree that people taking it too far, the rivalries, that's silly. So these are the things that are going to start, let's use the word cracking again, those are going to start breaking and opening, and hopefully we're going to be having some realizations about that and maybe shifting how we respond, okay? Now, let me find my place. Okay. Rain will fall. There will be flooding, but take care to not be disheartened, for we are with you. Okay, so this is going to be a continuation. We've been talking about this for a very long time now. We're going to see more floods. We're going to see, well, let me get more into this because they bring that up again later on. Your spiritual teams have gathered and are closer than you realize. And when they said that, I got this vision of just these spiritual teams they're really close to us now, and there's an army of them. And they are good, okay? They are good. They love us. They're right here. It's almost like they're the ones holding us up going, okay, you can do this, okay? We're here. We're here with you. Think of like mommy and daddy trying to teach you how to ride a bike, okay? Like they're holding you up, but eventually you need to pedal. You need to steer. You need to make sure that you don't fall off because they're going to let go. They're going to be right there, telling you how to do it, but you got to be willing to take some accountability for the actions that you are going through in your own life. Okay, so let me get back to this. Oh, yes. So your spiritual teams have gathered and are closer than you realize. Listen to them with your heart, not your mind. Okay, so we need to talk about that too. A lot of us are constantly beating ourselves up or listening to the voices in your head, right? And we think, oh my gosh, that's that's my spiritual team. Okay, yay, hurrah. I'm clairaudient, so I do hear my team, and I do hear my angels, and of course I hear, that's why I'm an angel medium. I can hear the messages. But if I just heard like a disjointed voice, I would go see somebody. Okay. What I'm getting at here is I'll hear some words, but then it kind of flows through my heart, and that's how I know that it's real. That's how I know that it's not just my ego trying to mess with me. If you believe in spirits that come in and try to interfere, I personally do. I believe there are energies that are trying to interfere. I don't think they have to necessarily be on the other side. Somebody can be messing with you who's in a physical body. But again, that's not to scare anybody. But if you're really wanting to know what's the difference there, the difference is one feels incredibly loving. It fills up your entire being. It radiates around you. You might get chills. You might feel warmth. You just feel loved. Okay? Even if the message is stern, you still know and you feel at the very depth of you that this is for your own good. Okay? And maybe it might be hard to trust that, but I think a lot of you too will be like, all right, well, show me how this is going to go. Show me what to do. It's not about you knowing the future so that you can get prepared for it. Because even if you knew the future, this future that we're all up against, it looks nothing like we've ever experienced before. Okay? Nothing. So even if you knew the future, what good is that going to do you? What are you going to do about it? Worry about it? And then you mess up the future? See, that's why I don't do like terribly predictive readings. I mean, I know we're talking about some, world events and stuff like that, but I think that's to crack open our awareness and to wake us up. All right. When somebody comes to me for a reading, they're like, tell me the future. I'm like, no, let's talk about why you need to know the future so bad. Let's work on that. Let's get you empowered, and then you're going to create your own future. Okay. So, all right. So with your heart, not your mind. So we said that. And then they said oil fires. Remember the oil thing? Okay. Oil fires lightning. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means lightning's going to strike some sort of like oil spill. And does that happen? I don't know. There's something about lightning too. The oil fires, I feel like that's pretty literal. That has a certain feel about it. Like, really watch out for this. Or there's something that's about to burst. I just felt that too. Something is about to burst. Watch nuclear power plants too. Not that would necessarily happen in this week, but things are not being cared for in the way that they should be. Okay? And we're going to find that out. Things are going to crack. They're going to fizz out. Now with the lightning though, that could be metaphorical and it could be personal. It could be very individual. Okay? So lightning could sort of strike in your life. Lightning strikes, some people think of that as like, oh wow, that was a stroke of luck or, whatever. Yeah, that feels like, okay, so anytime, let me just explain this and how I work, okay, if it's of interest to you. When I feel a message coming forward and it starts to feel kind of like in pieces, it starts to feel like it's a little bit scattered, that's how I know that it's going to affect each person differently. And for our purposes here, for a general reading, I shouldn't get into that, okay, because we'd be here forever. But as always, as I always say, if you want a personal reading, you know where to go, my website, all that information is always in the description box, but be prepared because we go deep, all right? We go in deep if you can handle it. Okay, then it says, leave yourself open to the possibility of more information. This will change your mind. And then they put explain, and that was at me to give you more on that. And we leave you here. We love you. So I'm supposed to explain it. Let me hook into because I'm kind of not in the auto write zone. Let me go back. Leave yourself open to the possibility of more information. This will change your mind. What do you guys want me to explain? Okay. Okay, so remember we were talking about all that division. So maybe a lot of what has informed your opinions about things has been whether it's popular to have that opinion or not, whether it matches your politics. Does it match who you are? Does it fit in this little, life image that you're trying to create? More information is going to come out. Even if you've historically been 100% against this thing, you're going to realize it's not as bad. Or maybe you've been totally on the side of this and you realize, oops, that's not completely pure. So what we're doing is we're evening out. We're coming into the center. Now, some people are going to rail against this. Some people are going to hate this. And I don't no, it feels like people who are not watching this video right now, it feels like it could be family members or people around you. That does not mean that you are better than them, okay, that you're more enlightened. As soon as somebody says, I'm so enlightened, they're out of their wisdom. Get away from them, okay, because they're trying to play you. So this whole thing of like changing your mind, you're gonna, I think it's just like, say it again, guys. Less dichotomous and more unity, okay? More understanding one another. Now this is going to flip-flop back and forth. You may flip-flop back and forth within your opinions, and that's okay. Just be patient with yourselves, all right? So having said that, let's get on to the cards. All right, guys, so for the angel cards this week, I think I want to use the Archangel Oracle cards by Doreen Virtue. We are going to be pulling a color card from the Ina Segal deck and a crystal card from the Rochelle Sharman deck. Did I say that right? If you would like to get a personal reading with me, go to my website at angelsouls444.com. The services page. I had someone write to me and say, you changed your website. How do I get a reading? The website hasn't changed. Just go to the services page. You'll see all the options there. If you do, for whatever reason, if you have a problem with the pull down menu, it could be the browser, but just test it out. And if you have any more issues, just let me know. All right. If you would like to go to Gumroad and get some courses, I finally have the Archangel Shamuel video up. Oh, that was such a fun video to make. And the Archangel Ariel video, which was also fun to make. Both of those include 4 meditations for you to manifest various things in your life. Shamuel is all about self-love, finding true love, finding resolution to conflict, and a whole bunch of other things. Archangel Ariel is known as the nature archangel, I should say, and the archangel that helps you with prosperity, with material manifestations, being grounded, detoxing through nature, all that good stuff, okay? So if you want to check that out along with the other courses, it's at Gumroad, information down below. If you would like to support me on Patreon, leave that down below as well. Okay, cool. So let's get into it now. Yay. All right, where are my candles? Oh, I had to move my fire. Sorry, I have to go over here to kind of clear out my deck. There's just too much going on here. There's too much paper on this table. It just didn't feel safe. So I moved my Play-Doh fire. It's right there, but still off camera. All right, guys, let's see what's going on. Oops. Okay. So I had a card fling right out, overcoming difficulties. Yes. I'll hold it up here in a second. We love that, right? What else, guys? So you're finding solutions in your personal life, and we're starting to let go of the need to be right in like a grander sense, like with social issues, and we're starting to find some fairness, okay? There's another one sticking out. Peace. There's Shamuel. Hi, Shamuel. We were just talking about you. All right. And then we have gentleness, Sandalphon, so being very grounded. Not that one. Okay. Okay. What's happening? Hold on. Let me shuffle again. That didn't feel right. Oh, okay. That wasn't special. That was just me dropping the deck. Back to shuffling. Back to shuffling. One more card, please. All right. This one. Crystal clear intentions. This is amazing. So it does feel like we're overcoming difficulties. We're leaving that old story behind. And then this fresh perspective gets to open up. And now because we're not so fueled by the anger or by being right or getting one over on somebody else, we come into a place of peace. There might be some relief to come. And boom, this is where you get your revelations. Okay, so it's really incredible. Now I have all my lamps ablazing. The sun is about to go down, so there's going to be, I'm going to be looking at my monitor, as you well know. This is a big YouTube no. You're not supposed to do it, but I think this is another rule that if you have a spiritual YouTube channel and you hold up cards that are glossy, that reflect off the stinking lights, you're allowed to look in your monitor. So saith Michelle. Take it for what it's worth. All right. So here we go, guys. Of course, I'll have B-roll rolling over this so that you can get a closer look at the cards. So we have overcoming difficulties, Archangel Jeremiah, who helps you with life review, looking at what's been, how do you want to change things going forward, okay? The worst is now behind you and you are surmounting any previous challenges. But this isn't going to come without changing your mind about a few things, okay? So a lot of us are going to be rocked to the core. But, you know, because it's like, oh gosh, all these things that I put so much energy into believing, it's not like that? What? Now, the upside to this card is that you will realize that the struggle is over. The fight is over. And it doesn't necessarily mean that something bad has to happen and then it's just taken away from you. It just means that you come, because we have peace, we have gentleness. It's like this sort of quiet resolve. Like we kind of float into it and go, okay, all right. One of the things that, it's funny that this is coming up. One of the things that I think humans are trying to finally address is our stress levels. Now, especially if you're here in the United States, you know how stressful things can be. You know what anxiety can do to yourself and how it can make you not very relatable to other people. Sometimes people are very, like they do want to fight you because it's a disturbance. I actually heard them just say that and I felt it, like this disturbance that you might have with others. But this is a week where you can kind of relax into it and some solutions are coming to you and things kind of, if you allow them to, they kind of flow. Do you know what I mean? Like, especially if you're having conflict with others. You don't have to be besties, like if you're having conflict with somebody, but you might just kind of go into your separate corners and kind of go, okay, you good? You good? Yep, okay. Then let's keep going. So coming to peace with conflict, coming to peace with whatever you have been dealing with. Any cares, concerns, you're going to start seeing some of the possibilities towards solutions. Okay, so here we have peace, Archangel Shamuel. Peace comes from remembering that only love is real. All right. So no matter what we're experiencing in this coming week, the more plugged into love we are, this is just, I mean, can I put it in human terms, like very dated human terms? Chill out. Yeah, dated. I warned you. I gave you that warning. We just need to be cool, man. Just relax a little bit. We don't have to be against one another all the time. Also, you don't have to control everything. Now, we're just saying that anxiety is it's at an all-time high, especially here in the United States. If you're somewhere else in the world, please weigh in. We love to hear from you. I love when people from all over the world they're sharing their culture, they're sharing their experiences because it's really mind-opening. You know what I mean? But here, when we're in so much anxiety, we might want to control the things outside of us. Okay, we might want to control others. We might want to go harass Michelle for a very predictive psychic reading. I'm kidding. People ask for that, but it's not that they're bad. It's just that they're kind of still in a wounded place. They're still in a lot of pain. So when we relax on that, now we're clearing away some of the attachment to outcome. We've talked about that before, and now you can get into that deeper soul level kind of work. Okay. If you don't feel this way this week, you're not wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just, it'll happen for you in good time. All right. Then we have gentleness. Stop beating yourselves up. Yes. You are trying to figure out how to be human. Okay. You're going to mess it up. I honestly feel, and I think a lot of other people have said this too, that we're kind of like a human experiment. Do you know what I mean? We're like souls don't necessarily know how to be human. We're still working on it. We're still developing this. So you can take a breath every once in a while and just chill out. Sandalphon helps you, balance your spiritual self with your physical self. So your spiritual world with your physical world. So it's all about balancing here and being very grounded. Okay. So gentleness. Archangel Sandalphon, be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. I've said this before. This is nothing against Doreen Virtue. These are very old. Not very old. I'm acting like they came from what's the date on these? 2004. Okay, that's when this, according to the back of this here thingy, this is when this was published. Already, okay, this is an example of how much we have come forward in our spirituality. This says, surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. We're not in that zone anymore. That feeling of, oh, I can't be around people because they're negative. Okay, that might have held very true back in 2004. Okay, it was holding true up until, like 2012, 2014, something like that. We're not there anymore. We're stronger than that. We don't have to turn away. We don't have to hide from, okay, so like if you're, how should I put this? This isn't encouraging you to go around toxic people. Okay, it's not encouraging you to, get yourself into a place that that you're not comfortable with. But I think we're at a place now where we don't feel like we don't have to shy away from what is. We don't have to shy away from somebody who's in pain because it's hurting my vibe, man. Really, like, come on. It's unfortunately, spiritually speaking, I think a lot of people have used that kind of wording. Again, not that it's bad, but people have used it in a bad way. Okay. Like, being told that they're so sensitive. So people hear that they're sensitive. They want to be special. Some people, they put themselves above others and then they say, oh, I'm so delicate and special. I can't be around those people. Is this making any sense? Okay. I'm not trying to be offensive here because there's nothing wrong with however you feel, but, you don't have to avoid. I guess I could have said that right at the beginning. I'm sorry. I probably won't edit that out either. Again, I'm sorry. All right. So the next card we have, when you clear all this away and you're finding your strength, you realize like it's more about the human connection and understanding one another now, and we're laying down the old arguments, right? Now we have crystal clear intentions, Archangel Michael. Be clear about what you desire and focus upon it with unwavering faith. Now this gets us into a little bit of a tricky spot too with some of that wording, again, because of how people are taking it. When you get crystal clear intentions, okay, it's not about like wah, 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 mind control. Like, this is how I'm going to manifest. You like the sound effects? Yeah. All right. So it's not about that. It's about going, no, I can make that happen. And feeling it swell up in your heart. Feel it, again, that whole idea of radiating out. And it has little to do with like that specific person. If you're unhealthy and you're kind of in an unhealthy spin, this isn't going to help you, okay? Because you're not clear. This is talking about crystal clear intentions, really knowing what it is that you want, okay? Not what you think you should want. We talk about that all the time. All right, anyway, let's get on to, I have to, you know me. Why am I never prepared for these things? I knew I was going to do a reading. I sat down. I did the whole thing. There's lights on. You would think that I would remember to lay the cards out. Nope. All right, so let's get the color card next. Fire. Over here. And I'll wave around so I'm not wiggling my arm in the frame here because nobody needs to see that either. All right. Let's see what the color card is. Isn't it January 22nd? I don't have my calendar in front of me no more, but it is, isn't it? 2-2. Balance. Sandalphon. Yas. Okay. I just wanted to bring that up. Color card for this week is silver. Be persistent. The number is 27. Now that does kind of go in with what we were saying here. Like when you figure out what it is that you truly want, hold tight to it. Okay. But remember, you don't want to waste your energy just trying to like come into the mental body to make stuff happen. Because you can do that. People have been doing that for a stinking long time. But a lot of what they manifest, I've done this before. It was such a mistake in manifestation, especially around love. Like, oh, I want this kind of partner, and then I got him, and I'm like, how do I get rid of you? I need out. I can't. So be careful with trying to manifest from the mental body. Let it be, again, I'm getting this feeling of being fully integrated and sort of manifesting with your whole, I'm like holding it towards me, manifest with your whole being. So that be persistent is staying in your faith, staying in the energy of your heart though. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, cool. So let's get on. We need a crystal card. The fire. Okay. I think I'm going to start putting my candles over there from here on out because it's just safer. It's not paranoia, just safety first. All right. So, crystal card, please. Overall, I mean, despite some of the things that might be going on, it feels like a happy week. It's a peaceful week. It's feeling good about where we are and about how far we've come. And it's about realizing how far you've come. And some of you might feel like you've come full circle. So maybe you went through a period of, really hating on your family and really angry about some of the stuff that's happened there. And, they weren't there for me, blah, 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 blah. And then, then you kind of realize they've got their story. Now, it's not as simplistic as this, but you realize that, well, we can choose to fight and be at each other's throats, or we can both forgive and we can move on. I think we're in that kind of energy now. All right, so our crystal card is Herkimer Diamond Dreams. Okay, so yeah, maybe you're getting messages through your dreams. You could definitely take it that way. Always remember, the cards that come up, you feel in your heart, not just you trying to contrive a meaning, but feel in your heart how you want to take it. And that's your personal message, okay? So dreams, I feel though, this is like we start to realize a different dream for us in total, okay? Seeing fellow human beings as brothers and sisters, and not in like a creepy way, not in a culty way, but in a way that, okay, what is possible for all of us? What is a better way for us to live and coexist? Doesn't love feel better? Don't we want to work towards that? Again, but not in like this kind of like retreating, passive kind of way. It's like still being very present, but being very balanced, okay? So dreams too is, to me, feels like you're changing what you thought your dreams would be, okay? You're changing that up and you're saying, nah, I can let go of that because maybe my dream was, I've used this example before, maybe my dream was to be a rock star, but maybe I only wanted to be a rock star because I felt like I needed people's attention, because I didn't feel loved, and I felt like I had to prove myself to kind of get back at people who harmed me. But now I'm okay, and I realize I don't need to be famous. I just want to do good things in this world. So that's just one example of how your dreams might be shifting and changing. Okay, which is nice. Yeah, and then you get going in a different path. It's kind of cool. All right, guys, we're gonna leave it there for this week. I am sending you so much love, and take care.